For starters, a bit more long awaited but very important news. The Denver Broncos announced that they have informed quarterback Russell Wilson that they will cut him next week when the new league year begins. Kind of felt inevitable. Head coach Sean Payton did try to walk it back around the Super Bowl and say, hey, maybe we'll revisit this. But when you remember how it ended with the reports that the Broncos had already threatened to cut Russ if he wouldn't rework his contract, the bad blood felt there. This felt inevitable. And now it is official. The Denver Broncos will cut Russell Wilson just 2 years after swinging an enormous trade with the Seattle Seahawks to acquire him, and then immediately signing him to a massive $240 million extension. Keep this in mind. Russ had 2 years remaining on his Seattle deal when he got to Denver. So technically, this year was the first of that extension, and he is being cut really before even getting into the new years on that deal. He will cost $85 million against the Broncos salary cap. That is more than the next two biggest cap hits in NFL history. That would be Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers combined. Just a staggering amount of money for the Broncos to pay for someone to not quarterback them. But you bring in Sean Payton, the influence that he wields, the money that Denver has, not cap space, but actual money because of how lucrative their ownership is. If this is how they feel is the best way to move forward, no point in continuing to pay for the sins of the past regimes in the here and now. And now the Broncos turn to once again trying to find a quarterback in this dark period post Peyton Manning where they just haven't been able to figure the position out. The early guess is that the Broncos will turn toward the draft, because what the hell else are they going to do when you're paying that much money to a quarterback not to play for you? Your options are fairly limited. I'm sure they'll look at reasonably priced free agents, but I wouldn't be surprised if they look toward the draft to try to find their starter of the future. Does make it interesting for Russell Wilson, because nobody's going to be interested in employing him at that gaudy number that he was on in Denver. But now that he's been cut, he can sign anywhere he wants for any amount he wants. So the market is reopened for Russell Wilson. He's certainly, after the last 2 years, not going to command top dollar, but he could sign on with a quarterback needy team at a reasonable price, and maybe he'll get a chance at redemption. But for the time being, one of the worst trades and worst contracts in NFL history. The Broncos parting ways with Russell Wilson just 2 years after moving heaven and earth to get him